Hello everybody, this is Ebony Love and I'm back with another video for the AccuQuilt GO cutter. I'm going to do this video headless because I wanted you to be able to see really close up what I'm doing. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how you can get more hexagons from strips of fabric than are designated on your GO die. The first thing that I do when I receive a die is I outline it with a silver sharpie, as you can see here, so I can see the outlines of the shapes. This particular die enables you to cut 3 hexagons in various shapes. The smallest one is will finish at 1 1/4 inch. The medium-sized one will finish at 2 inches, and the largest one will finish at 3 3/4 inches. In the instructions that come with the GO die, AccuQuilt recommends that you cut strips at 2.5, 3.5, and 5.5 inches wide. However, I have a technique that's going to demonstrate how you can use narrower strips and then also get more hexagons from the strips. The first thing that I did was I measured these particular dies. Now, if you are die cutting strips, you're going to want to cut strips that you have a strip cutter for. So I would recommend, if you're strip cutting, that you cut your strips at 2.5, 3.5, and 5 inches. There actually isn't a 5-inch strip cutter, so if you're rotary cutting that, you'll want to cut that at 5 inches. What you'll also want to do is remove the selvages. I haven't removed the selvages from my strips, so I'm going to realign the strips, and I'm folding these in half twice, so that I get this smaller strip. And I'm going to lay this strip over the die so that it covers, and I want the edge to just cover the top of that die. So if I lift this up a little bit, I can see that I don't have the die peeking out from under there. I'm going to take the next strip, which this is my 3.5 inch strip, and do the same thing, and I'm going to overlap this a little bit with the 2.5 inch strip, just to make sure that it is covering both. So you can see that when I overlap these, I'm going to get some cuts that are overlapped, but that's okay. I'll still get whole hexagons from this. And then this last strip, which is at 5 inches, I'm going to do, again, the same thing, just aligning the top of that selvage with the top of my die and overlapping them as needed. So you just want to check with this last strip that you lay over the top that you're covering all of the edges. And then once you've got that in place, you want to put your mat over the top of the die and run it through the cutter. As you're running this through, you're going to want to make sure that the ends of your fabric are aligned so that they're not interfering with the operation of the die cutter, and so that it's not creating an extra layer here. So I just need to help this through a little bit, because at the edges you're cutting through 8 layers instead of 4 where those strips overlap. Alright, so as I take this off, you can see that I've got 4 of those, and here are the little overlap pieces, another 4 of those, and then 4 of these. Now, I'm not going to take these strips off completely. What I'm doing is just pulling them back so that I get a little bit, so that I can move the strips without interfering with the way that they're positioned. And I'm just going to shift these up again, just so that I just cover the edges of the die. Now lift this up here. So you can see that with this cut, when you look at the AccuQuilt instructions, it says that you can only get 6 hexagons from the larger one, and you can see here that I'm about to get 8. So we'll run that through again, like so. Again, you might need to help it through. So at this point, I am done with the larger hexagon, so I'll pull those off. And now I'm ready to continue shifting with these. So again, I'm just going to pull these back, pull out my hexagons, move it up until it's covered, move this one up until it just covers, Make sure I've got those little edges out of the way and run it through again. Now with this one, I do want to make sure that this is just covering because I'm actually going to get an extra cut from this one, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so we're just about done with these strips. And if I'm not sure if this one's going to make it, but usually I can get an extra cut here from this center hexagon when I open out this strip. I can usually get an extra cut. So we'll see if I was successful in doing that with this one. So with this one, I'm going to be a little bit shy, but typically when I cut this way, I'm able to get an extra cut by opening up this layer. So you may need to just be a little more careful than I was when you're doing this. So I'm going to run that back through again. Here's my mat. Okay. So there's that. So you can see I was just a little bit shy with that one. I'm a fudging kind of a quilter, so I'll probably be able to just catch that in the seam allowance and still be able to use those. And then again from your last cut here, if you angle that just a little bit, you should be able to cut the last 4 hexagons from this last little bit. Okay, so if you're a little bit careful with the way that you align these, you should be able to get 20 of the smaller hexagons from one with the fabric. The AccuQuilt directions say 14, so I just got 6 more from there. You should be able to get 14 of the medium-sized ones, and the AccuQuilt directions specify 10, so that's 4 more there. And then with the largest ones, you should be able to get a nice set of 8 when the directions specify 6. So that's one of the ways that I maximize my fabric. And again, if you cut narrower strips, like I said, if you're strip cutting and you want to use really efficient cuts, you can use strips that are easily cut with your strip cutter. If you want to cut it a little bit close, you can cut narrower strips, but then you just have to be really careful with the layout. So that's it. Hope this was helpful. Have fun.